Good morning. It is Tuesday morning. This morning it's day number 19. It's a slight change of scenery here. It's early and most of my videographers are still fast asleep. It's a slight change of track this morning too. I had thought we might go trekking and learn some lessons from nature, but something crossed my path last night in the form of a news snippet, which I will relay later, which caused me to change the track of my story. And the story today is perhaps titled Courage and Care. There's a man at Phinda Game Reserve who's a security guard. His name is Xolani Hlabisa. He's armed only with an old torch and some even older batteries, and he guides us safely around the open camp at night. He is not looking for criminals, he's looking for creatures of all sorts of shapes and sizes. He speaks magnificently about his two boys who live in Kwanibela, just near St. Lucia. And I wonder how lucky they are to have a father who exhibits such courage during tough times. We were about to embark on a walk in the bush, and one of our colleagues developed an extraordinarily bad blood nose. And it's not a great idea to be out trekking and walking in the bush with a raging blood nose. And so Mick, our colleague, was confined back to barracks. And as we left him there, Xolani winked at us and said, "Don't worry, I will look after him." Every half an hour, for 18 hours, Xolani checked in on Mick. And it turns out that his real love is as a caregiver, and he's an HIV/AIDS counselor. He's only doing security to make ends meet. And so blended with courage is this extraordinary resource of care. Now, a few weeks later, you might remember the story. It happens in Paris. There's a 22-year-old Malian immigrant. An immigrant is largely illegal and unwanted. And he's on his way to a football match. He noticed this unbelievable commotion on the street. Cars are hooting and people are shouting. And he looks up, and from the 4th floor of this apartment building, he sees this 4-year-old child who is dangling, hanging on to the balcony by his fingertips. In some sort of Spider-Man-esque escapade, he ascends this building in a great mix between parkour and PT. And he is able to rescue this child, and from street to sheet, took 36 seconds. When they interview him afterwards, they say, "Well, why did you do that?" He said he just does it because he cares deeply for children and he didn't want to see that child get hurt. He's offered French citizenship by Emmanuel Macron, the French president, and he, of course, is given a job as a fireman. That is an obvious occupation for somebody who doesn't even need the ladders. And so again, there was this incredible story of a blend between courage and care. And why I decided to talk about this was a snippet from Boris Johnson, the Prime Minister of Britain, who last night announced that he was close to death, but was really looked after well by 2 nurses in particular who stood by his bed for 48 hours. The one nurse's name is Jenny, he says, and the other one is Louise. Ironically, Jenny comes from New Zealand and Louise comes from Portugal. And so wherever we look, we might see these blends of courage and care, and they may be from completely unexpected places. Care does not arrive because of an exorbitant medical aid. And courage has no need for capes. They arrive quietly and unexpectedly in the heat of the moment or in the dead of night. They arrive to save your child, or they arrive to quietly check your pulse. I wonder today if we could show a little care in our courage. And heaven knows it takes courage to show how much we care. Have a wonderful Tuesday, and we'll see you tomorrow.